like talk about the Street Fighter V story mode, the cinematic story mode that we just finished, and yeah, we're just gonna give like our honest to god like impressions, because the whole reason why I wanted to do the SF5 A Shadowfall story mode was, you know, just basically out of fucking curiosity, right? Like, I've been playing a lot of like SF5 in terms of like online, because characters like Oro and Akira were pretty goddamn fantastic in terms of playing. And then I started like going backwards on the SF list and trying out characters like Gil and Alex and other characters that, you know, I always see a lot in Street Fighter but never had the chance to actually play or practice on. And I was like, you know what? I do remember that Street Fighter V had like a cinematic like copy and paste story mode that you would see from NetherRealm games, like in Injustice, Mortal Kombat, those games. And so I wanted to like check and see how good the story modes are compared to like the character ending story modes, character specific story modes that you usually get in SF5, and the general arcade modes, which is like series of battles and then you get a special ending cutscene depicting what happens after you defeat the final boss. And what I witnessed and what I played was like, you know, like, it's a very copy and paste thing that Capcom tried to pull with Mortal Kombat X, because Mortal Kombat X, it sells a lot well, not only for character visuals and gore, but also for their very casual, upfront cinematic story mode that grabs a lot of players in with, you know, the good dialogue, the good action, the good build-up moments that Injustice and MK games have over the past like few years. And they're really good, they're really fun. They're fun like story modes that you can definitely get into. And with Capcom's case, they were I feel like they were just trying to do a bitch-made move, I feel, with the cinematic story mode, because Street Fighter V copies have been like tanking even with like the season 1, and they've been like, this is like season 1, and Capcom was also pushing for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite at that time. And so around like the same time frame, you know, period. And so what they were doing is like, okay, let's make a story mode. Let's take a look at what fighting games, you know, sell at recently. Okay, let's look at NetherRealm, right? Ooh, the cinematic story mode. I guess we could like take it for our own and ship in and like make plentiful of numbers, which unfortunately didn't, because, you know, NetherRealm has their own like style and grace when it comes to cinematic story modes, and they clearly excel at them a lot. Clearly excel at them in terms of just like I said, like the build up and like setting up how the story mode is and what the climactic ending will be. And it's really fun. It's really fun. I played them. I played the MK11 story mode so many, I think like 2-3 years ago. I think that was it. And I also played the MK expansion, which is like the Aftermath, and oh god, the Aftermath expansion. Fucking goddamn that game. Goddamn that game DLC. Fuck. But it was really fun. I liked it. I could see, like, after playing the MK story modes, I could see why that a lot of people would become engrossed into the MK series, because of that, like, casual appeal. And I say casual appeal because that's the single player content. And Street Fighter lacked that at the beginning of SF5's inception, because throughout SF5 it was very much catered to a competitive audience. like people like Daigo, Tokido, Punko, Fudo. Damn, I just said like 4 Japanese players with O's at the end. That's fucked up. But you know, it would just cater to like those types. Punk and like everyone else of like who plays competitive Street Fighter, and that was the main idea. And what did it start off with? Just online. Literally just online in practice mode for SF5. And we won't get like single player content until like when Guile came out with the cinematic story mode, and when Season 3 came out. Season 3, so that's like 2 years. 2 or almost 3 years of single player content. I could be wrong here. Someone might have to like correct me on that one. But it took a pretty long time to get single player content like character specific. Well, there was character specific endings, but they were really like short fights. There was no like arcade mode. There was no like extra stuff like survival. It was mainly just online, and that was it. That's really it. Because like, you know, it was catered to that audience. Capcom was like pushing it to be the competitive game through and through. Until like Season 3, 4, and 5, which then it got a lot of fluff. A lot of like Capcom like single player fluff, and that's a good thing. Now I got like, there's so much more content to SF5 than it originally was. You know? And that's why I was like holding off of like SF, because, you know, I've seen in this game a lot of the time it can be half boring, half hype as well, you know? But it just lacked like that attention for a casual audience to get you into SF. Like, here's the thing, like, casuals really go towards, you know, character visuals, roster size, and what was it? Single player content. Those 3 alone determine how many fighting game people you are going to introduce. How many people you're going to introduce into the fighting game scene. And Street Fighter like lacked that, because I think it's just like when Street Fighter hit the 3D era after Third Strike is when characters started to look a little bit mongoloid, you know, like a little bit of like that weird Adonis complex type of like look. And you know, some characters look good, like I think Cammy looks really good, Chun-Li looks good. Ken does not look good. It fucking is like banana hair. I wanted to like dig him at first because it was like, oh cool, Ken, he's got a new hairstyle. He doesn't have straight blonde hair anymore. No, he doesn't. He just looks like a fucking weirdo. Ryu just always looks Adonis complex. I think like only like a few characters look really good and honing true to themselves. I always like Rashid. I like Alex. Zeku is pretty cool. Oro is really definite to himself, is really true to himself, like a homeless man. And, you know, some characters look good, other characters look fucking disgusting to look at, you know? Like, it's just wild how they could have, like, such a divide. You know? And not just, like, in male characters, also, like, female characters. Like, I remember Poison looking hella dank and weird when she was first announced for SF5, and I was like, that's not Poison. That looks like a weird, like, chinny chin chin Poison, bro. Holy shit, man. God. You know? But some characters look good, others look awful. You know. But anyway, back to, like, the story mode, right? The copy and paste, NetherRealm style for Street Fighter V, and you know, I gotta say, I'm thinking like compared to the MVCI story mode, which I am curious that I want to like revisit and re-nostalgicize again of MVCI story mode. I gotta say, SF5 story mode's a little bit better than MVCI. Cause like, at least like with SF5, you get a build-up, right? There's clear and imminent present danger that like, oh, this Gurren Lagann type of like plot clause of like, the moon shall become hell's messenger and a billion apes will die by Shadowlo. Like Shadowlo created like a second moon, a machine moon, and will send it hurtling straight to the Earth's atmosphere. This is literally Gurren Lagann shit. And everybody is trying to stop Shadowlo from its like world domination. I don't know how you can rule the world after like half the planet is like decimated, or all of the world is decimated. I don't know how. Some crazy ass fuckwad dictator. But it's definitely got that good build up. The story definitely revolves around, of course, Ryu, because Ryu is Ryu. Wherever he goes, there's like chaos and events happening around him. But of course, there's also Nash, Rashid. There's some like minor stuff like Cammy and I think Chun-Li, yeah. Chun-Li was also there, and then there's of course the villains like, oh no, and Helen, or quote unquote Colleen, quote unquote Helen in this game, because it wasn't revealed until like the very end of the SF5 story mode that Helen is actually Colleen, the secretary's side chick for Gil, who was a character in Street Fighter Third Strike. He's like a final boss in that game. But the story definitely revolves around them. Majorly revolves around them. There are minor characters that get a little bit of sunlight, like Cammy, Chun-Li. There's also like Zangief, which Zangief got a little bit more attention, which is surprisingly, because Zangief is just like a very I'm just in the flow, I just care for muscle. And he's like, there's a lot of like funny hokey shit that Zangief does, which is like he does like the stretch, the flex, and like stops a sword and does stupid shit like that. And it's like, what's going on, Zangief? I didn't know you were this important. I think he's like an important joke character. You know? But yeah, like, characters get like their minor spotlights and characters get like their major spotlights. You know, stuff like that. Nikali was just like a fuckface that was just like running around saying Devour, Vour, Vour. Claim the soul of like Ryu or Nash or like Vipson. Jesus, like, damn, that was like, I think about Nikali, like, he looks cool. I remember him, like, when I first saw him, he looked very cool, but then you have to hear this bitch talking about, like, devour the souls, and he's like an eternal, like, mud man that just wants to, like, fuck everything, you know? And I'm just like, man, why did I ever like this character? Excuse me. Yeah. But the story mode was like generic like story mode that you would see in NetherRealm games, but only like in a little bit worse, because there are some like narrative like inconveniences, like gather everybody and like all that stuff, and just like random like street fights. Because mostly about like Street Fighter, besides like the main plot line of Ryu's like inner darkness and Shadowloo and all that junk, it's mostly just like miscommunication or misinterpretation. Because you definitely see a lot of that with like Lauren's fight or like Alex's fight, stuff like that, when they're trying to do like major shit going around the world, collecting all those like chess pieces to stop the moon invasion from happening. And that was like half of the story mode. The other half was just like major plot connections, which kind of didn't make any sense, you know? Like, Karin suddenly watched like a broadcast. I mean, of course, there was like a second moon, but Karin, like in the Kanzaki estate, suddenly brought up everybody from the world warriors to like help her out and fight off this Shadowloo invasion of like the world, of like the moon descending into the earth. And you know, like, and it was also like Colleen's like job to like make sure that these fuckheads stay in line for the true successor of world rejuvenation, which is fucking Gil. Because Gil's like the prophecy man. One day a child born of half red and half blue, half fire, half ice, will save the world from damnation. Shit like that. He thinks of himself as a Jesus. He's kind of like Jeddah Doma from Darkstalkers. Literally one and the same character. Except Jeddah is like, he's more edgier. He will collect the souls for Makai. Whereas, I don't know what Gil's story is. I think it's just like, he believes himself as a savior. Through and through. But it's funny. But it's funny that he's like that, and he's in this game, which we wouldn't get Gil until like season 3. No, not season 3. I'm sorry. Season 4, along with Seth, and they were like the boss character expansion for SF5, and they're like funner versions of their originals. But yeah, Shadowloo doing fucking shit, fucked up shit. Hiring like hackers, or like Fang like killed hackers, killed Rashid's friend, who was a hacker working for Shadowloo until like he defeated him. But Fang's still like fucking around, walking around, fucking around, you know, shit like that. I hate like Fang as a character. Oh my god, Fang is such a weird bitch. What the hell is he, man? Like, god, dude. Why does he exist? Why does he exist? I do not know. I do not know. Oh, man. Yeah, but everything went smoothly as you would expect it. Heroes win the fights, and then of course there's like the ending cutscene with Colleen and Gil preparing for his resurrection. You know, but it was overall like a better, well, it's not like a 10 out of 10 cinematic story mode that you would get in NetherRealm games. Like, I think like a good cinematic story mode, at least like in fighting game terms, I think it's like MK9. I think it's like MK9 because you get so much more fluff. And you get so much more variety with characters and like playing them, even though it was like it came around in like the PS3 era, and characters looked like, oh, they're definitely sticking with it at the times. Like bikini ninjas were bikini ninjas, and oh Jesus, and like character models were like woof. But at least like MK9 felt like longer than this one. Or about as like an equal length as this one, but MK9 was a little bit better because of like the pacing, the build-up, you know. You get to play with characters, you get to like see how characters like grow and evolve throughout the story mode. I think the only one that was like kind of evolving was like Ryu and Nash. And that was really it, but not really done well. Like, we know Ryu, this bitch, always has, like, the Satsui no Hado. And Nash literally woke up from zombie nap because he was dead by Bison's first encounter. When he and Guile were, like, hunting his ass down. But it was done in the wrong ways, you know? Like, yes, Ryu has the Satsui no Hado. What else is new? And then after a while, it's like, man, they could have like showed a little bit more Ryu of how he's like battling his inner darkness. But then again, Ryu has always been battling his inner darkness ever since then, you know? He's always been like a weird batch. He's always got this evil side to him. Necalli was just like, you know, a point of interest to Ryu's awakening. Like, he was like the Akuma before Akuma came out in like season 2. Oh god, Akuma with his lion hair, oh my god. You know? But the story was fine. It's not the best story mode. Like, I give it like a 5 out of 10 story mode. Like, it's a good half. Not that great. It's so far okay. Like, this is like one of those story modes that like you visit once and never touch it ever again. However, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite story mode, like I played that once and I was like, why did this exist? Why? This is so fucking awful. Why? I do want to take a look into the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite story mode, man. Like, it's so fucking weird. It's so fucking stupid too. It's another copy and paste thing, but with no build up. And Capcom was like just trying to deliver sales because Capcom was not at like a good place. Capcom would get a little bit better with Resident Evil 7, which they ushered them back into the spotlight, along with other future titles like RE2 Remake, Devil May Cry 5, RE8, maybe a little bit of like RE3, which we still have to play one day. I still need to play RE3 Remake. And fucking that game. But it was definitely like Capcom's bad approach to like get their fighting games going, you know. And after Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they stopped making fighting games because they don't want to take that risk of losing millions of units or millions of dollars and like not what was it? What's the right phrase to look at? Not approved level shipments in their fighting games, you know? Because Capcom's like the type of like company that like they want to see those numbers grow because like they're kind of like, I don't want to say conceited, but they'll put out a fighting game and they'll like assume that a lot of people will buy their game and just play them. But after releases like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Street Fighter Cross Tekken is like, I'm not buying any of your shit anymore, Capcom. I know what you've been doing. I see that like in-game, in-disc DLC bullshit. I'm not gonna buy DLC characters just for this like trash-looking game called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So Capcom fans grew the wiser, and they were not gonna like play a game that looked awful and didn't represent the Marvel vs. Capcom feel by just bullshit like that. They're just not gonna do it. So Capcom quit, and their best approach right now is, you know, making single-player / multiplayer games like Resident Evil and Devil May Cry and Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter. What else? The new Phoenix Wright games. Stuff like that. That's what Capcom is doing, and that's what's keeping them afloat. It's not the fighting games anymore. It's not the fighting games anymore. Which is sad, because like I want to see Capcom come back to their roots for their fighting games. Like they started out in the arcade cabinets. It's just after the arcade cabinet moments of like the 90s and early 2000s, they were just like heading steep downhill. Not like a steep downhill, but they were steadily declining a little bit, you know? Like they still put out gems like MVC2 and Tatsunoko vs. Capcom and CVS 1 and CVS 2, but I think I feel like they started to fall after like the decline of arcade cabinets, and they're trying to like reinvent themselves back, but in the wrong ways, you know? Yeah. Like that's the problem. But yeah, like the story mode is nice. Story mode is nice. Capcom did what they thought what they could do was okay, but it was not quite, you know. Capcom needs to like wise up and like really think about their fighting game division. Otherwise, they would just like do the same thing like Resident Evil. They would like pop in a new Resident Evil, which they'll probably do like next year, because I know they're gonna do a Resident Evil 4 remake, which I know that's gonna happen from like leaks and rumors, and how like the RE remake trend is like steadily going. Like they're definitely gonna like do that, you know? Which I kinda don't want them to, you know? I kinda don't want them to, because why would you remake a game that's like, oh holy shit, this is the perfect game in all of existence, this is the perfect Resident Evil in all of existence, why would you remake that? Because like remake hype and how Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 3 remake sold, well, RE2 remake sold a fuck ton, not Resident Evil 3 remake, but the remakes were selling a fuck ton of units from Capcom, that they want to continue this trend. Like it's like, oh, you see like this profitabilized, you see this like increasing profit going well, huh? Let's do other more projects that deserve to get a remake, you know? You know, what else? Yeah, I think like Capcom should really take a look into their fighting game division, because I like Capcom fighting games. I like Marvel vs. Capcom. I like Darkstalkers back there. I like Project Justice because of Akira. I want to get into Project Justice. I want to get into like Power Stone. I want to get into Power Stone because that's a fun like Smash clone. Actually, that's a better Smash clone. Holy shit! Power Stone! Welcome to Power Stone World. You know? I would love to play some Power Stone. I just gotta figure out how. Like, maybe emulation. Something like that. And yeah, so many, like, games that Capcom has in its, like, library that they're not gonna, like, touch, which is, like, sad. And I know Capcom, like, I feel like, is a little hesitant, you know? They'll probably have like their best interest at heart if they were to do that, but it would be for the wrong reasons, you know? Like, they'll just like lie to you. But man, I would like to see like a Darkstalkers remake or a Rival Schools like Resurrection. You know, I would love to see that. But now they're just like heading towards Street Fighter 6, which is like the very clear indication after like Season 5's characters with Oro, Rose, those character stories that we've seen before. Like it's like, ooh, okay. And of course with like Luke, because Luke is like a totally brand new character. He's gonna like be the upcoming rookie that will rise from the ashes of old SF. He's like the new World Warrior. We're gonna be like a new cast. You know? Which I think we'll probably see, because I think Luke comes around in like November, right? I think Luke comes around in like November. So maybe we'll get like a little small tidbit of SF6, like a teaser trailer, like how they did SF5 teaser trailer. You know, maybe at like around Capcom Cup, because that's usually where their announcements and stuff usually go about for Street Fighter. So maybe we could see like an SF6 like reveal of some kind, you know? Yeah, but Jesus, like I want to see more like Capcom fighting games to like come back in some way. Yes, you could. Yes, I love Devil May Cry. I'm a Devil May Cry nut. I have like DMC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like somewhere in my systems, I have DMC 5 Deluxe Edition. Of course, I'm a DMC nut. Of course, I love Resident Evil. I love Monster Hunter now recently. But you know, I would like to see like some old school IPs old school IPs from Capcom. Like, give us Dino Crisis, give us Darkstalkers, give us like a Captain Commando game, you know? Like, how fun would it be to like have a Captain Commando or like a, what was it? There was another fighting game that Capcom had in the 3D era. Star Gladiator, yeah, Star Gladiator, which is literally Capcom Star Wars. That's where Hayato came from. But you know, I just want like Capcom to like reach beyond the horizon, you know? Reach out for that horizon. And like do more than just like the same stuff that they've been doing all the damn time, you know? Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just like, man, I wish like Capcom can do more, you know? But anyway, I think that's enough real talk discussions for today.